So this happened last month, and I still can't sleep right. I found myself stuck out in the middle of nowhere, almost out of gas, with no idea where I was. I had taken a wrong turn hours before, and by the time I realized it, I had no signal and no daylight left. I didn't want to sleep in my car, not with how cold it had gotten, and that's when I saw a man standing off the road. He looked like he'd been there for a while, just watching. No lights, no car, just him. He didn't say much, only pointed me down a narrow dirt road and told me there was an old cabin I could use for the night. Said it was better than freezing out here. I didn't know what else to do, so I followed the road. It was more like a tunnel of trees. My headlights barely helped, and the branches scraped the sides of the car the whole way. I finally saw the cabin sitting in a clearing. It looked like it hadn't been touched in years. The roof sagged, and the wood was gray with age, but it was shelter. I parked close and left the engine running for a minute. Something about the place made me feel sick, like it didn't want me there. But I was cold, tired, and out of options. I grabbed a small bag from the back seat, lit a candle I found in the glove box, and stepped inside. The air was heavy. The smell hit me first. Damp wood, dust, and something else I couldn't name. The floor creaked under every step. Inside, there was a fireplace, a broken table, and one wooden chair in the middle of the room. Cobwebs hung from the ceiling like curtains. I set my bag down and tried to settle in. I remember standing still for a while, just listening to the wind brush against the walls. It was the kind of quiet that doesn't feel right, like something is waiting for you to speak first. The first hour was fine. I had no service, but I didn't care. I ate something, unrolled a blanket in the corner, and told myself I'd leave first thing in the morning. Just a weird night in a weird place. I even laughed once, just to try and break the tension. It didn't help. The sound felt wrong in that space, like it echoed too far. Then I saw the footprints. Bare feet, small, not mine. They were in the dust near the fireplace and led across the floor to the far wall. But there were no prints going the other way. No entry point. They just started and ended. I stared for a long time, then tried to tell myself they were old, maybe from some animal, but they looked too human. I tried to ignore it, closed my eyes for a bit, then I heard something above me. There was no upstairs. I had walked around the whole cabin, and there wasn't even a ladder or trap door. But I heard something moving. Slow steps. Right above my head, I held the candle and stared at the ceiling. Nothing. The sound stopped, then started again. A single step, then another. I turned around and saw that the footprints were gone. The dust was smooth, like no one had ever walked there. I backed toward the door, trying to stay calm, and bumped into the chair. It had moved. Not by much, but I knew exactly where I left it. I stood there, frozen, then grabbed the handle. It wouldn't move, it was stuck. Swollen wood, maybe. I pulled harder, nothing. I kicked it, still nothing. The candle went out. Total darkness. No sounds but my own breathing. I pulled out a flashlight from my bag, turned it on, and pointed it toward the corner. Someone was standing there. I couldn't see a face, just the shape. Long hair hanging down, bare feet, still, facing the wall, not moving, not shaking, just standing like it had always been there. I turned off the flashlight. I don't know why. Maybe I didn't want to see anymore. I stood there in the dark, holding my breath. My heart was pounding in my ears. I counted in my head. 10 seconds, 20, a full minute. Then I turned the light back on. The corner was empty. But the chair was facing me. I could feel something in the air shift. It felt like I wasn't alone, not just in the way someone stands in the same room, but like something was behind my skin. I felt like I had walked into a story that had already started without me, and now I was part of it, whether I wanted to be or not. I backed away from the chair, afraid to blink, afraid to breathe too loud. Every sound I made felt like an invitation. I pressed my back against the door. It still wouldn't budge. The room felt smaller. The shadows grew longer even though my flashlight stayed steady. The silence got heavier. My ears started to ring. That was when I noticed the shape again, not in the corner this time, closer, right behind the chair. The shape behind the chair didn't move, not at first. It just stood there. I stared for as long as I could without blinking. My eyes were burning, but I was too scared to look away. The second I did, I knew it would be closer. That's how it felt. Like the only thing keeping it still was my attention. The flashlight started to flicker, not from low battery. It was like something was interfering with it. The beam trembled in the dark, and the shape began to shift. It didn't walk. It just leaned forward. I could hear it breathing, or maybe I imagined it. The sound was heavy, slow, like wind pushing through something dead. I turned the light off again. I don't know why I kept doing that. Maybe part of me thought if I couldn't see it, it couldn't reach me. But in the dark, the room changed. I felt the air twist. It was colder, but not sharp. It was dull, thick, like breathing underwater. I started shaking. Not just from fear. My limbs actually felt numb. My fingers wouldn't grip right. The flashlight almost slipped from my hand. I turned the flashlight back on. Nothing in front of me. The chair was there, but the shape was gone. Then I heard it. Not footsteps, something worse. Wood bending, like weight shifting above me. The sound of old beams groaning. I looked up. The ceiling was dark, but I could see dust falling. Little pieces drifting down from the cracks. It was on the ceiling. I backed away slowly, the flashlight trembling in my hand. I didn't want to look up again. I couldn't. I was too afraid of what I'd see. I turned and tried the door again. Still stuck. I started slamming my shoulder into it, again and again. My breaths were short and fast. I could feel something coming down the wall behind me. The sound stopped. Then I heard a whisper. Not words, just a sound that felt like one, like someone speaking through water. It was right behind my ear. Cold breath tickled my neck. My skin prickled all over. I froze, completely helpless. The door gave way. I fell outside and hit the ground hard. My flashlight dropped and rolled into the trees. It was pitch black except for a faint line of moonlight cutting through the branches. I scrambled to my feet and ran. I didn't look back. I didn't even think. I just ran as fast as I could in a straight line, hoping to find the road again. I don't know how long I was out there. I don't know how far I went. But eventually, I saw headlights, a car, a real car. I jumped in front of it, waving my arms like a madman. The driver hit the brakes and leaned out, yelling at me. I couldn't even speak. I just pointed behind me and said something about the woods. I remember him asking if someone was chasing me, but I didn't answer. He drove me to the nearest gas station. I called a tow truck. Told them I had left my car on a forest road and didn't want to go back for it. I didn't even care about the car anymore. I just wanted to leave. The man at the gas station looked at me for a long time while I waited for the truck. He didn't say anything, but I could tell he knew something. Or maybe he had seen it before. A few days later, I checked online. I searched for that cabin. I thought maybe I imagined some of it. Maybe it was some breakdown from stress. But I found a thread, a post from 2 years ago. Someone describing the exact same place. Same cabin, same road, same man pointing them there. Only their post ended with something different. They said they made it through the night. They said the chair never moved. They said they didn't see anything. But they started having dreams. Every night, the same figure, standing in the corner, then on the ceiling, then behind the chair, the same order every time, no matter where they slept, no matter where they ran. I haven't been able to sleep much. When I do, I see it. I hear the whisper, the sound of something breathing behind my ear. Sometimes I wake up and my chair has moved. Sometimes I wake up on the floor. Sometimes I don't remember falling asleep at all. I left that cabin, I left the woods, but I don't think it left me. If you ever find yourself lost and someone points you down an old road to a quiet cabin, keep driving. No matter how tired you are, no matter how cold it is, keep driving. Do not stop. Do not listen. Do not stay the night. That place is not empty. It never was.